This activity is called Shrinking Gang, and it's from the Choices Toolkit. I guess one of the reasons to put this activity together and to set it up is to really start to get young people to understand the limited amounts of things they start to do when involved heavily in a gang. I'm not saying the young people in the video are involved heavily in a gang, but some of them definitely were. So not all of them, but some of them definitely were. What I would say just now is the other important thing about the video. As you can see, I've used black card. It's actually magic paper, and it's a special kind of pen that you use to write on the card. The only reason I used that card was to engage the young people more. You wouldn't have to use that card, it's entirely up to yourself. You could use white paper if you wanted to, but the only reason I used it was to engage the young people more. When running the activity, again, it's very similar to some of the other activities in the clips that we've got here on the online learning, but when running the activity, it is having fun. It is about having fun and running the activity, but it's very much about the discussion afterwards. That's what we're designing it for. Okay, I'm going to put you into 3 different groups just now. So you're the baseball bat. You're the big pen, and you're the hubcap. You're the baseball bat. You're the big. You're the big pen.
Aww.
You're the hubcap. You're the baseball bat.
Yeah, I should have Martin Courtney.
So it's going to go up and
No.
I'm going to give you some black bits of card. I'm going to give you a pen. I would like you, one of the people in the group, to write in big, guys, you need to listen, write in big writing, so there's only going to be one word on this piece of black card in the end. Now I want you to think about stuff that you do within your social circle. I want you to think about stuff you do within your social circle. And I want you to think about negative stuff, and I want you to think about positive stuff. Do you understand? So if you give me these cards back in a wee second, and actually what you've given me is a lot of rubbish, I'll ditch this activity straight away, because I know for a fact what you guys get up to in your social circles. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yes.
Now I want the positive stuff, so it could be go to school.
So
Or it might be
one
good.
on each bit?
One on each bit.
So there'll be 3 good ones and 3 bad ones?
No, so you've only got 4 cards,
So 2 bad ones and 2 good ones?
so you do whatever you want. You could all be bad, you could all be good, it's entirely up to yourself.
Right.
Do you understand what I've asked you to do? Yeah, so what are you doing? Tell me what you're doing.
Writing what we do at the weekends.
At the weekends, but not just at the weekends. So for example, if you've just got a new job, a job would be in there.
What's the pen? I've got
But
a
that's not my social
black
life.
pen.
No, but you've got a job, so that's one of the things you do in life. Yeah, you might go to school. If you do it at the weekends, you drink loads of booze and take loads of drugs and carry a knife, that's also in there. Remember, no one's going to be identified here. Do you understand what I'm getting at? So you have to write on this side.
It's black
Yeah,
pen.
it's alright, it's a special pen. It's going to make it fancy.
You drink, don't you? So I'd be the next man on the next piece of paper. You take drugs, don't you?
Yeah, no.
You do sometimes. Right. And then the next piece of paper.
Right, so once that one's done, just put it down.
Take drugs like that.
Alright, green. That is drugs. But it's still drugs, so you're still taking drugs. Get drunk.
You need to have positive stuff in there as well, though. Yeah?
Positive stuff. How many men have we got? Right, go to college and school.
Don't go to college.
You do go to college?
I know I'm packed.
Oh my god. Just right, go to college and school.
Go.
Just write school in.
This activity is called Shrinking Gang, okay? Now what it is basically is a social circle of people. Now you guys are a social circle, alright? And I'm going to put you into this social circle in a wee second. I'm going to give you a bit of a challenge, alright? So some of the things that you've read out, alright? Some of the things that you've written out is hanging out with my family, smoke green, get drunk, gang fighting, go to school, get high, drink. Guys, just quiet down a wee sec. School, socialise, education. We've got could get noticed off the cops. Could get noticed off the cops is a good buzz, yeah. Walk about and get high. Walk about and get high. Get a job. Okay. Now, can I just say, guys, you need to be very clear on what's going to happen here, all right? Because this is an activity and it's a bit of a team building exercise. So I'm going to get you to physically do something now. I've put in all these different cards down on inside this rope. Now, the thing about these cards is they've come from you individually. I did not write them down, right? So they come from you. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you to step into this circle in a wee second inside the rope. Whatever happens, you're not allowed to touch your feet on the edge of the rope. Okay, that's one of the rules. The other thing you're not allowed to do is you're not allowed to touch your feet on any of the cards.
Wow,
So, no, you're not out, but it's just not part of the game. You're not allowed to do it. Yeah. So when I ask you in a second, guys, listen up. When I ask you in a second, you're going to step into this circle, and you're not going to stand on the cards or the edge of the rope. On you go. You know, stay where you are. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Guys, you need to calm down. Yeah. Stay where you are. Cool. So now you're all in this circle. This is your social circle. You're all in this circle. And the things that are written on the ground are the things that you guys do. Okay? Now what I'm going to do in a wee second is I'm going to ask you to step out of this circle again. Not right now, but I'm going to ask you to step out of this circle again. And when I ask you to step out of the circle, I'm going to make the circle smaller. And then I'm going to ask you to step back in again. Now the problem is you're not allowed to stand on any of these cards when you come back in. So, out you go. Okay, and you get.
Hello.
Brilliant. Out you get again. That's brilliant. Well done. Okay, and you get. You can't touch the rope and you can't touch the cards.
Squeeze up.
Okay, so now what I'm going to ask you to do, if it's all right, is I'm going to ask you to take 2 cards out. Now it's a group discussion.
Would you rather drink or get high?
There's 2 get drunks, guys.
Don't jump in, guys. Let's
There's 2
discuss
get high.
it.
So take that, get high, and keep
No!
You're in college, so that's an education.
Everyone's got a bit of education.
So, dude, what's coming?
So can I just say here, right? So you wanted to kick this out, yeah? So that's your choice. Now put your hands up if you want to kick education out.
No, it's
Aye, right.
Can we not just take out one of the smoke greens and one of the get drunks and then that's us took 2 cards out? And then there's still be one in?
No, you don't want to take one out. Take it out. Aye, right.
Okay, and you get.
My shoes are
Right, come on, guys, focus, please. Let's have a proper discussion about which cards you would take out next.
Education.
walk about and get high. It's already that get high.
Take that out.
So.
Take out what?
That one.
They walk about and get high.
So.
That one.
No.
Education.
No.
Education.
Everybody has education.
Education.
Aye, right.
Everybody's meant to get
What
education.
else? What else?
He goes to school, college.
Guys, listen.
I don't go once I got my letters.
Course.
What else? What else am I taking out,
College,
guys?
see?
Walk about and get high.
You're still getting
What about hanging out with your family?
I know.
You do.
You get home and speak to your ma or something every night, so if you take that out, it means you've got about going home to whatever, think about it.
So what else am I taking out? I need to take another card out.
Socialise.
That means you socialise.
Getting a job. Getting a job is there.
Aye, take that out.
No,
I take that out.
No,
It's not like a job.
No, we'll sign on. We'll just not sign on.
Take.
No, mate, I'm never going to sign on.
Get noticed of the cops. Take that out.
Okay.
I get that. That's a bad thing, but.
Guys, can I just ask you quickly to look at what we've got here, right? We've got get drunk, we've got hang out with my family, we've got get high, we've got gang fighting, we've got socialising, we've got
Has that happened for you?
get a job. Get a job. Yeah, so we've got now 6 things left, all right? So there's one more that's going to have to come out because I'm going to reduce this down even more. What's it going to be?
If you take socialise, that means you can't speak to each other.
Basically, if you take socialise out, it means you're not going to hang out together anymore.
I will phone each other.
No, you won't
You
because that's
can't take
socialising. So if you can't take socialise out, which one would it be if
So
you're going
would
to
you
take
rather?
No.
Gang fighting, definitely.
No.
If I could get gang fighting, definitely. Take that out.
Does anyone actually hang out with
Me?
their family
No,
properly?
we
You
don't
just go and
actually hang out with them,
see.
we talk to them.
I mean her. We hang about after.
Okay, it's 2 people. Anyone else? Go, guys, can you listen up? Can you go and get your seats you're in the group with, put it back in a horseshoe shape as it was over there, and I'm going to finish discussing it. Okay, there's something in my head right now, right? There's something in my head right now that's quite alarming, right? So it's not quite fitting. It's like something in my head. You know that way where people kind of get a wee bit confused and they kind of go, scratch the head. What, can anyone here recognise what it is?
How we would rather get drunk and get high than
Guys,
actually
can you
have a
quiet down a
life.
wee second? Sorry, what was that?
How people would rather get drunk and get high than have a life.
So that's one of the
Education.
things.
Who's got a problem with that? Hello.
So would you rather get drunk the rest of your life, sir?
You want to do the 23 ones every day?
Or would you rather have a job?
I would rather have a job.
You get if
What
you,
was the job in education?
but we voted the job and all that out. We voted education.
So I'll tell you the ones you voted out. Okay, so we have education's gone, right? So education's gone. You also took out to get noticed of the cops. You also took out go walk about, and go to school, right? So they're the 4 that you took out. Now I call this activity a shrinking gang. Why do you think I called it a shrinking gang?
Yes, you think nothing is we do.
Basically what I'm doing is I'm getting a large amount of stuff that you do in your daily lives between the ages of kind of 12, possibly up to 19, 20. And eventually, if you do get involved in a social circle that do take drugs, that are involved in violence and stealing, there's a good chance that actually the stuff that gets pushed out of your social circle is the things that's going to help you most in life later on. Now I know for a fact, right, I'm 100% sure on this. I promise you, I'm 100% sure on this. That we've got an age range in this room of between 14 and say 17, yeah? 13, 14 and 17. Now I'm 100% sure. For someone to turn around and say 100% sure is a big thing. I know for a fact that by the time you reach the age of 20, 21, maybe even before that, 18, 19, maybe 22, 23, I know for a fact, and correct me if I'm wrong, but will you not be trying to get a wee bit more of this? Seriously? Yeah? That's the first one you pulled out. Now I'm not saying you're this or you're that. Well, one of the first ones that you pulled out. But what I'm saying to you is actually, and I know this from the truth of working with lots of people, is when you are involved in a social circle where you do limited things, and sorry, just to say the limited things that you do, they are hanging out with family, gang fighting, getting high, getting a job's left in there because some people have got a job, socialise, and get drugs. Now actually there's only 4 or 5 things in there and they're very much linked. Am I right in saying that? So then if I was to start to look into the bigger picture of it all, correct me if I'm wrong,
Right.
Oh, Berry, I got a Buckfast sticker off, full sticker.
Aye. That's so proud of.
What I tell you.
I get the Hawaiian brew one now.
Right guys, just listen up a wee second. Some of the stuff I've just thrown down then, basically what I'm saying from running that activity and talking about a shrinking gang and looking at the people that we've got in the room, from what you've just told me, actually if I was to pick up,
2 seconds.
Guys, just focus a wee sec. If I was to pick up the stuff that you said your gang does, there's only 5 of these pictures I would pick up. So what does that tell you as a group of people? I know for a fact you would pick up alcohol.
No, but if I had a choice to do any, I'd pick the
I'll
cock.
pick that car.
That's cool, that's cool.
I'd pick the whole
I'm talking about what you've just done in the activity. Guys, it's linked to the activity. So I'm talking about Buckfast, smoking cigarettes. The car will be in there probably. Bit of graffiti hanging around the streets, running about.
Money.
Going out the dancing possibly, having money. And that money could be either by stealing things or whatever else. But what I'm saying here is, correct me if I'm wrong guys, if you are in a social circle, you're limiting the things that you can do either in the future or on a daily basis. Am I saying that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not telling you to suddenly turn around and go, right, tomorrow I'm going to ditch this, ditch that, and go and get a job and go to college and go back to school. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just wanting you to recognise actually in your heads right now that some of the stuff that you do when you're younger will have a very detrimental fact in the future. Yeah? Very much so. To the extent where actually a choice could end up putting you in jail. A choice could end up killing one of your mates. I'm fed up seeing people dying, guys. Does anyone understand what I've just talked through there for the last 10 minutes? 15 minutes. Do you understand what I was getting at there?
Aye.
Yeah? As you can see from the video you've just watched, there might be a couple of question marks in your head about why I was maybe dismissing some of the things that the girls were saying while I was kneeling down in the ground in the centre of the circle. And I wasn't really dismissing them, but I wasn't taking on board as much as what the boys were saying. The reason for that was mainly because there's probably about 9 or 10 or 11 young people involved in that activity, but there was only a couple of girls. And I know the young people in that activity, and I know for a fact that the girls don't get so heavily involved in stuff, whereas the boys do. So that's one of the main reasons why I didn't really take on board quite so much about what they were saying, and influence where the young people went with what cards they would keep in and what cards they would take out. And to be honest, towards the end of activity, it was also very important to raise concerns in your own head and make them aware of what's actually happening and what's going to happen for their future, if actually they limit the amount of things that they can actually do in their life, reducing it down to 5 or 6 different things, alcohol and drugs and stealing and gang fighting being some of those.